SC ST का पैसा, उनका बजट 34% कर्नाटक में खत्म करके अलग कर दिया गया। पूछा आपने क्या उनसे, कौन किया? और सर यही नहीं, मैं पूछता हूं सर मैं पूछता हूं इनमें से सर,
अब आप संक्षिप्त समाप्त करें, आप समाप्त।
सर एक मैं कहना चाहता हूं सर आप देखिए ओबीसी के लिए आज ओबीसी का कोटा खत्म करके अगर मुसलमान को आरक्षण देने की बात कोई करता है तो आपकी आंध्र कर्नाटक आपके कहने पर वो लोग करने की बात करते हैं। आप यहाँ पे ओबीसी की बात करते हो सर। माननीय सभापति जी, मैं एक बात और कहना चाहता हूँ यहाँ पर, एक बात सर, अग्निवीर की बात कही गई और अखिलेश यादव जी ने मेरा नाम लेके कहा। सर मैं हिमाचल प्रदेश से आता हूँ, बहुत छोटा राज्य, 70 लाख की आबादी है सर देश में कारगिल के समय सबसे ज्यादा शहादत दी तो हिमाचल के वीर सपूतों ने दी। 4 परमवीर चक्र विजेता हुए, 2 हमारे यहाँ से हुए। 1 रैंक 1 पेंशन,
ये बात
40 साल तक इन्होंने दी सर। अगर दी तो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने आकर दी। और ये नहीं सर, अग्निवीर योजना में 100% एम्प्लॉयमेंट की गारंटी है और हमारी 100%। सर एक बात अंत में लास्ट बात कह रहा हूँ सर, ये लास्ट है सर, मैं एक बात, ये आखिरी बात कह रहा हूँ सर। युवाओं के लिए बजट में बहुत कुछ है, नौकरी से लेके इंटर्नशिप से लेके सब। मैं निर्मला जी को और प्रधानमंत्री जी को बहुत बहुत उसके लिए बधाई देता हूं सर। स्पेस के लिए 1000 रुपये वेंचर कैपिटल फंड भी दिया गया सर। जिस देश में स्पेस के नाम पर शायद बहुत कम कुछ दिखता था, आज चंद्रयान मिशन की सफलता के कारण दुनिया का पहला देश भारत बना है सर। यही नहीं सर, इनके समय हेमंत का गला रेत कर ले गए थे, वापस नहीं लाए थे, हमने सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक करके अपनी सेना को मजबूत किया सर।
डॉक्टर प्रदीप,
स्टार्टअप में सर हम नंबर 1 बने सर। आखिरी लाइन है सर 30 सेकंड सर, आखिरी लाइन सर। ये कहते देश में डर का माहौल, सर मैं इतना ही कहूंगा, डर का माहौल है अपराधियों में, डर का माहौल है भ्रष्टाचारियों में, डर का और भय का माहौल है देशद्रोहियों में, अधर्मियों में, कुकर्मियों में, और सबसे ज्यादा डर का माहौल है देश के दुश्मनों में सर, देश के दुश्मनों में सर। अंत में मैं इतना ही कहूंगा कि माननीय निर्मला जी ने 7वां बजट तो लाए, ये जन भावनाओं का बजट है जिसका पूरा सदन पूरी प्रशंसा करता है और इनको माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी को बहुत बहुत बधाई। और
डॉक्टर प्रदीप पाणिक रही, डॉक्टर प्रदीप पाणिक रही, डॉक्टर प्रदीप क्या कहना चाहते हैं? शशि थरूर जी।
Rule 353.
Mr. Premchandran ji.
He has not. He cannot take my name repeatedly without notice.
No. I have given whatever you wanted to raise. Already LOP has raised the issue. Akhilesh Yadav ji has raised. No point of order. No point of order. No. Nothing. शशि थरूर जी अब तय कर लीजिए आप लोगों में। डॉक्टर प्रदीप पाणिकर ही।
Sir, I'd like to speak for a minute.
विष्णु पदरे, अगर वो नहीं है।
श्री विष्णु पदरे जी।
Mr. Chairman, sir, let me point out he has repeatedly taken my name. Sir, he has repeatedly taken my name.
एक बढ़िया खबर है, आप भी सुन लो, आपको जरूरत है, आपका भला होगा। मोदी जी ने ऑयल एंड गैस का नाम पर अंडमान में 4 जगह में अक्टूबर में ऑयल ड्रिलिंग काम शुरू हो जाएगा। ये मोदी जी वो नहीं है। नंबर 2 भाई प्रदीप किसने बेचा था सर? भाई प्रदीप मिर्जापुरी इंपल का राजा लोग आए थे, चेन गैंग बना के जेल बनाया था भाई प्रदीप। इस पार्टी ने भाई प्रदीप बेचा था कैसीनो का नाम पर, जुआ खेलने का नाम पर बचाया था। मैं विष्णु बौद्धराय एंटनी माफी मांगा था, भाई प्रदीप बेचा था इन लोगों ने। उसका माताजी ने बना था बबर जोन जारवा रिजर्व, अंडमान निकोबार जगह। देखो क्या बना है, क्या बनाया मोदी, आपने क्या बनाया। जय हिंद, बरपादा की जय।
डॉक्टर प्रदीप पाणिकर ही।
सर क्या चाहिए बताइए, क्या चाहिए सर? नहीं क्या चाहिए, कोई नहीं, ये नहीं है तो छोड़ दीजिए, महामंत्री को खड़ा करते हैं ना फिर। मंत्री जी को बुला लीजिए।
शशि थरूर जी।
लो सुन लो सर, ये 353 एलिगेशन।
Sir, I just want to point out, sir, that under rule 353, the honourable member has no business taking my name repeatedly without providing notice, sir. and the notice was not given.
आप पर ये तरीका ठीक नहीं है आपका, ऐसा नहीं है। बोलिए क्या पॉइंट ऑफ ऑर्डर है, नंबर बताइए पॉइंट ऑफ ऑर्डर का।
Point 353, sir.
353
He has
पढ़ूं दोबारा।
repeatedly taken my
सुनो,
name without notice.
अब आप लोग 352 और 353 को पढ़ी लो आज। सुनो एक बार, बैठो।
Sir, I have
हाँ,
been.
पढ़ लो
He has
इसको।
had the right
रोज
to
पढ़ाते हो
respond,
मुझे
sir.
डेली के डेली।
Sir, I have the right to respond.
एक
Why
मिनट
not?
विश्वंती पढ़ाओ, बोलो।
The gentleman has repeatedly taken my name and quoted me. I mean, I should be grateful that he has revived a 35-year-old book of mine, which he has quoted extensively, the great Indian novel published in 1989, which is a satirical novel, which unfortunately the gentleman has missed the satire. I do want to point out, sir, that the fact is that we have recently fought the elections of 2024 and not the elections of 1989. So that's the first point, is to understand the context in which this has been written. Second, and more important, sir, I think it's important to understand that whereas many things have been said in the course of writing novels, there are also many subsequent books I have written which he could have quoted where he may be somewhat less happy with the result. And thirdly, sir, as far as there are many, many people on that side of the fence who have said many things far more recently against their own party, which he should remember can also be quoted back at them. So I think at this point, sir, this is not a literary discussion. I'm grateful for this, but I don't believe this is the right way to proceed in this matter. Thank you, sir.
सर अगली बार नए नॉवल का इस्तेमाल कर लेंगे सर।
सारे सदन को रोज सदन में इस किताब को उठाते हो आप, और रोज एक कानून उठाते हो 352, 353 बाइबल है। तो ये दो बाइबल के दो अंश आज मैं पढ़ के सुनाया हूँ पूरे सदन को इस बाइबल।
I was raising a point of order at the time of the debate made by Sri Anurag Singh Thakur ji, and the chair has assured me that I will give an opportunity. That is under Rule 356 and read with Rule 353 and also Rule 7.
एक मिनट,
Sir, one second. What is the purpose of the point of order? When a debate, there is no mic.
आपको मैंने अलाउ नहीं किया।
Allow करो।
नहीं
Sir, one second.
एक प्रेमचंद्र जी, प्लीज। माननीय वित्त मंत्री जी, प्लीज बेटे नहीं।
सर थैंक यू।
अभी प्रशिक्षण में सुनाऊंगा सबको, उसमें विशेष रूप से जो सीनियर है ना, उनको भी प्रशिक्षण देना पड़ेगा, दादा सोगत राय जी को। मैं तो रोज पढ़ता हूं नियम को डेली।
Sir, thank you very much, Speaker, sir. And I thank every member of the House who has spoken and taken interest in the budget which has been presented here. Let me at the outset thank the people of this country for giving this government, headed by Shri Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji, a historic third consecutive term in office. It actually reaffirms the faith the people have and the commitment with which Honorable Prime Minister is leading the country, and therefore building stability and coming up with people-centric policies. We shall all work together to build a Vikasit Bharat by the year 2047. I am extremely humbled by the trust faith. I am extremely humbled by the trust vested in me by Honorable Prime Minister, and it encourages me to work even harder to attain government's vision of Vikasit Bharat. I would like to thank all the members participated in this robust debate, and I'm trying here to address almost all the issues raised by the honorable members, and I shall go by issue which would cover under each issue, but I'll try to name as many of them as possible. So just before I do the part where I'm responding to the honorable members, I would like to highlight some of the budgetary points, features, which is very important for us to understand where this budget fits in itself in the long path towards Vikasit Bharat. Sir, this budget actually draws upon what was mentioned in the vote on account. So essentially infuses into it everything, almost everything said in the vote on account. And after that, of course, brings a newer addition towards making this year the first step towards the next 5 years leading towards Vikasit Bharat. See, from the vote on account is something that I'd like to underline. The principle of governance has from 2014 been Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas and Sabka Prayas, and that we shall come forward and work together to make sure we overcome all the difficulties. The budget actually seeks to consolidate all the earlier accomplishments. It also outlines measures in order that we overcome the challenges, and two core elements have been highlighted. One is inclusivity, that is reaching out to all strata of the people in the society, and geographical inclusivity through equitable development for all the regions in our country. So we are taking a whole of nation approach and now seeking to make sure fulfill the aspirations of our people. So briefly, if I were to summarize on points which are meeting this objective that we have set before ourselves, is expenditure of the government has actually grown exponentially. It is today 48.21 lakh crores. It is projected to grow by about 7.3% over 23-24 and 5% over pre-actuals of 23-24. We call it pre-actuals, although with the final figures are almost there because it has to be cited and audited. We give the nomenclature pre-actuals, but they are close, actually close to the real REs. Within the total expenditure, sir, one feature which has marked India's growth story post the COVID, it is the capital expenditure which the public money with which we are building assets, meaning government's own expenditure to build expenses are the ones, capital expenditure is the one which has actually enabled us to come out of COVID, whilst many other countries in the world are doing very many different things, but yet this one tested formula of depending on the multiplier which comes out of spending on public expenditure, spending on capital expenditure through public money, has actually thus such results that post-COVID consistently we've maintained, and we are the fastest growing in the world as a result of this very clear government's approach. And in that total expenditure of 48.21 lakh, 11.11 lakh, sir, budgeted capital expenditure is now almost 3.3 times the capital expenditure which was there in 2019-20, that is prior to COVID, sir. If you actually calculate the effective capital expenditure, it is pegged at 15.02 lakh or about 18% over the RE of 23-24. So that is the impetus we are giving for growth to be sustainable and for us to reach. I get into talking about the allocations because I think a lot of members have said probably the allocations in the social sector has come down. I want to, by giving the data, I want to showcase the allied sector in 2013 and 14 had just 30 lakh crores, meaning 0.30 lakh crores, whereas now it is 1.52 lakh crores. It is even 8,000 crores more than the 13-14, whereas today it is 1.48 lakh crores, which is 23% more allocation even over the last year, 28,000 crores more than last year, which is 23%. 0.96 lakh crore in 13-14, It is 3.27 lakh crores, 41% more allocation, or 96,000 crores more, whereas this year it is 2.66 lakh crores, which is 11.7% more allocation over the last year, 28,000 crores more than the last year. So nowhere has the budget given lesser allocation than the previous year. So I would want to appeal to honorable members to please have a look at the document in full and see that no allocation has been reduced. So just briefly, what the budget 2024-25 tries to bring in is a balance among several objectives, because growth is important, and through better growth, higher growth, we believe that inequality can be addressed. So growth, employment, welfare spending, capital investments, and fiscal consolidation. These are the factors which we've tried balancing in the budget. So an indicator which is very important for us. If I'm insisting on doing public spending on capital expenditure, the quality of public spending is the revenue deficit to fiscal deficit ratio normally. From about 80% 2020-2021 COVID year, on account of COVID pandemic, the revenue deficit to fiscal deficit ratio, sir, was expected to fall to 36% was high, whereas it is now fallen to, it is expected to fall to 36% in 24-25, and therefore reflecting the fact that expenditure is going towards quality asset creation. No one can refute this data, sir. These are all available in public domain. And the other thing which is an important indicator is, I had promised in this House, sir, 21-22, that the government would endeavor to attain fiscal deficit to GDP level below 4.5% by the year 25-26, from an unprecedented high of 9.2% in 2020-2021. We have kept completely to the trajectory projected. We have not deviated from it. We are complying by that fiscal deficit trajectory given by me. Even today, you see that we've gotten close to the 4.6. Actually, this year, we have clearly given 4.9 as the fiscal deficit. So we are keeping our word on that. India's exceptional post-pandemic economic recovery to become the fastest growing economy over the last 3 years is truly magnificent. And I thank every citizen, the middle class, the entrepreneurs, the farmers, marginal workers, traders, everyone who I've mentioned, I've not mentioned, deserve big gratitude, a word of thanks from all of us, sir, because of their toil and hard work and belief that they have to bring up the situation for their families to be better, has resulted in India becoming the fastest growing economy. And how many nations, may I ask this year, how many nations have achieved this balance through the budget since post-COVID to retain that growth, ensure that this balance happens and continues that sustainable growth momentum? So at least these sort of things which have to be remembered for the sake of thanking our people, I would like to highlight these as the last few years' achievement of this government and entirely thanking the people of India. And this couldn't have been possible unless there is a hardworking, visionary leadership which takes us forward so that the country can really come out of the COVID distress. And I thank Honorable Prime Minister for his leadership on this. Sir, I had also presented the Jammu Kashmir budget for 24-25. I'm happy to inform that the concrete steps that have been taken to enable the Union Territory to break free from the fetters of the past, namely the legacy of fiscal distress which has been inherited from the erstwhile state. We have provided substantial financial support, and I'll give the numbers, 17,000 crores in the union budget of the UT of J&K this year. It includes 12,000 crore towards financing the cost of Jammu Kashmir Police. That's a burden we want to take on our shoulders so that J&K has more flexibility to spend money for developmental activities. And the additional central assistance of 5,000 crore has been provided. With this support, I expect the GSDP ratio, fiscal deficit to GSDP ratio of the Union Territory would be somewhere, and I'm estimating it, somewhere in the range of 3% for the year 24-25. The public finances of the Union Territory are now back on the rails, and they are now able to focus on developmental activities much more than ever before. And the fiscal prudence is the biggest spirit with which the welfare activities are being taken up without any compromise on Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. So, because Jammu and Kashmir budget was particularly of interest to some of the members, I would like to respond to the members as well, much before I go to responding to members on the general budget. Sir, some members of J&K have raised questions about unemployment rate in J&K. Mia Altaf MP and also Honorable Member Aga Syed Ruhullah Mehdi. They have raised issues about unemployment, and I would want to put it on the record of this House. Unemployment rate, that is for the age group of 15 to 59 years, has actually come down for J&K from 6.4% in 2020-2021 to 5.7% in 21-22 to 4.4% in 22-23, sir. So there is a reduction in the unemployment rate in J&K. The reduction is primarily because there is a lot of avenues being created for self-employment, and livelihood opportunities through Government of India schemes are reaching all people in J&K, and as a result, you can see that employment opportunities in the sense of self-employment has actually grown. So again, Honorable Member Mia Altaf had raised this issue about the works that are undertaken by the Union Territory government for the welfare of tribals. I'll certainly like to say, sir, there are about 9 important things which need to be highlighted. The Union Territory government has undertaken several initiatives for tribal welfare in the areas of healthcare, education, culture, infrastructure development, and livelihood. After 2 decades, actually, forest rights were granted to tribal communities. 2 शतक के बाद, इंतजार के बाद, ट्राइबल कम्युनिटीज का उनका हक फॉरेस्ट राइट्स के द्वारा दिया गया है. 5,943 forest right certificates have been issued to the tribal people. First ever survey of the nomadic tribal population has also been conducted. Transport facilities are being provided to the nomadic tribes and the Bakarwals because they move up the range during summer and come down from the higher reaches to the lower levels. Transport facility is also being provided. Transit accommodation is provided to migratory tribal communities. Again, the communities which move from colder to slightly warmer regions in winter, including community kitchens, medical and veterinary dispensaries, and community toilets. All these have been provided for the migratory tribal communities. Professional coaching centers, scholarships, skilling for 48,000 tribal youth, 8 new hostel buildings, 285 smart schools, 6 Ekalavya residential schools have all been developed in the Union Territory of Kashmir. 80 schools to be transformed into smart schools in the tribal areas. That's a very important step forward, and it will benefit tribal children. 186 tribal villages are being developed under the PM Adi Adarsh Yojana, so helping tribal communities. Tribal Research Institute is being developed in Srinagar, and these are some of the very specific measures being taken by the government, and I hope the Honourable MP has got substantial information on the question that he asked. Sir, now I come to the general budget, in which I go by issues in which many members of parliament have spoken, so I've clubbed to them club together members. The first issue I take up is members from the opening speaker, Kumari Shelja, Professor Saugata Roy, Hebe Eden, Dr. T. Sumati, Charanjit Singh Channiji, and many others have all spoken about how there is a threat to cooperative federalism. Only few states have been given the benefits in the budget. Sir, I'm very sure, I would like to humbly state this, I'm sure all the members know that in a budget speech, if a state is not named, it doesn't mean that no money goes to them. And therefore, that was a misleading campaign, which, being in the opposition, unfortunately, a lot of members did speak about. It pains me to know that they could say that if you're not mentioned in the budget speech, your state gets nothing at all. Sir, I would like to I'd like to tell you, Honorable Speaker, sir, from 2004-5, sir, 2004 to 5 onwards. First of all, I'll say बाकी राज्यों को क्या है वगैरह, but I'll first say some things. Sir,
कोई भी माननीय सदस्य बैठे बैठे कोई भी टिप्पणी करे तो आपको उसका जवाब नहीं देना।
ठीक है सर।
बिना परमिशन।
सर, Sir, I'll take the example, sir. Sir, I'd like to compare. Sir, I'm picking up on the budget speeches since 2004-5, 5-6, 6-7, 2007-8, and so on, sir. 2004-5 budget did not take the name of 17 states. I'd like to ask the UPA government members at that time, did money not go to those 17 states? Did they stop it? Then if they stopped it, they have every business to ask this question. I presume they didn't stop money going to those 17 states because they didn't name it. So when it is one thing for them, it's all right. When the same thing happens somewhere else, no, it's not all right, you've deceived. 17 states were not named in 2004-5. 18 states were not named in 2005-6. 13 states were not named in 2006-7. 16 states were not named in 2007.